lining up for the sprint with Fozzie at the front. There we are. Tyres, quick tyres before we get into it. Harris on the hards, and Harris looking to defend that 9-point lead that he has in the Drivers' Championship. Fozzie is starting from the front with Bryn Evans alongside Danny Zwart and Alex Mills covering the second row, and the sprint in Sao Paulo is moments away. 3, 4, 5 red lights at Interlagos. It's lights out and away we go for the sprint, and Fozzie gets away well. Can Bryn Evans pull alongside into turn 1? Bryn Evans trying to take the lead. Then comes Alex Mills, followed through by Danny Zwart. And then we've got Dylan in the Mercedes, and Rio Harris already looking to put on a charge on the Mercedes. And potentially diving into the inside of turn 4. It's side-by-side action going off is the Racing Bulls. Potentially Steverex there dropping back. And then again going off. That's the Red Bull of Bradley in the background. Harris trying to saw around the outside. Maybe diving to the inside of turn 8. Not quite on this occasion. Fozzie leads on the first lap of the sprint. 12 laps in this event. And, well, many changing of the order here. Oh my word. Too wide on the numerous occasions there. But, well, and Miri, what a start. Moving up so many places. Now we're on to the second lap. And well, any moves down into the center S's. Might be Bradley actually going around the outside of Dumb Donut. Bradley and Donut side by side. Verstappen and Hamilton-esque. And there's contact and Donut's off. Donut into the grass there. And he's lost the place to Swifty. Swifty there. I'm just going to refresh that because it's not showing when they change places. Amiri, whoa, Amiri and Donut making contact in turn 4. Evans still trying to track Fozzie. And the train is still there. Let's just get a quick little check-in on the championship. Currently nothing changing. Ferrari will not be the champions in this sprint race, but they can still seal it later on today. They would only seal it in the sprint if they outscore McLaren by 12, I think, so it's unlikely in the sprint. But and drivers, yeah, it's just carrying on. There's nothing, as it stands, nothing. I don't know if I even put anything on for that. Maybe I just forgot. Down into the center S's once more. And 2 McLarens looking racy. Mills will be looking to get past Evans, I'm sure, for the championship, but Evans has got priorities further up the road as well in trying to track down the Red Bull of Fozzie. Fozzie, who drove for Ferrari last week, came in second place, if I remember correctly. I don't write down all the stats like Rio Harris. I just go off the top of my head because there is not enough time for me to be writing out things and doing all this graphics as well. Danny Zwart we're on board with as the train is forming. Dylan slightly dropping back there from Danny Zwart, and Harris will be looking to keep with him as well. On the hard tyres, he should get better as the race goes on. You would expect that, of course. And here we go. Is this Evans' opportunity? He's got ERS. And he's not really burning it on this occasion. Now he is on the second half of the straight. And he might pull a lunge, not quite. And Evans just following through. Harris now trying to muster a way past Dylan, but Bradley's also there, and we know Bradley and Harris have been going back and forth in the chat for a long time, and no move for Bradley. Harris potentially a bit out of shape, maybe didn't look quite as clean as he might have wanted. Tarantino and Tans side by side, and there is a yellow. What has gone on in this sector of racetrack? Fozzie dropping down to 4th place. Fozzie has dropped down behind Evans, behind Mills, and also behind Danny's Vart. So Fozzie not having a good lap there. I don't even really know what happened. But yeah, interesting, but Dylan is still not within his DRS. Is Harris now close enough to potentially make a move? There might be a change for the lead here. The two McLaren swap around, and Alex Mills takes the lead of the sprint. Danny's Vart still keeping in touch. Fozzie dropping back a bit. Harris ahead of Dylan, and then Dylan side by side with Bradley. And Dylan trying to hold it around the outside. And down the Retroposta they go. And Bradley's got the inside line. Dylan still trying to hang it around the outside. He's still there. Still wheel to wheel towards Ferrari. And Bradley is ahead of Dylan. Yellow flag. Not entirely sure what happened here, as once again Donut having contact, and then Tans getting by, and then Donut hits into Tans, and then Tans hits into the Alpine of Dropbox, and it goes chaos. It's chaos on lap 5 in the middle sector. Oh my goodness. And down the inside goes Kure, and then as well we have Dropbox right there, as well as Tans is in 13th place. And there was side-by-side action all the way there. Contact with Joseph and Miguez. And then Stevrex following through. Side-by-side between Amiri and Dropbox. Side-by-side between the two Racing Bull cars. And now we do see... Whoa! Stevrex flying into the wall. Donut must be retiring from a sprint race. He is. Here is Amiri getting past Dropbox. Goes off the track. Dropbox will try to fight back. And I wonder if he has to give that place back. We might be seeing action as well between Dylan and Bradley. But the action's still continuing further back as well, because it's side by side with Kure and Tans. And Kure still trying to make the move. Potentially diving to the inside, and turn 8 locks up, controls it. And Tans still running in 12th place. Unbelievable. And we might even see it again, potentially down here. There's a lunge there from the Aston Martin of Joseph, and that has cost him a few places as well. Out front, everything staying pretty calm. McLaren controlling this now. Harris having to kind of just accept his 4th place, it seems. Here's Dylan around the outside of Bradley, and he's got the place there, but then gets a bit out of shape going through the CRS, and it might allow Bradley a look here, but he's a bit unsteady on the traction, and Dylan will try to pull clear down a Retroposta, and oh, Bradley and Dylan make contact, and Ghost slips by on the inside, and then Ghost gets out of shape as Bradley there goes through, and Dylan is off at turn 4. And this sprint race is threatening to go even more mental than it already has. And Ryan there getting on to the... Ryan has got on to the grass. And wow, Dylan dropping down the order. Bradley not seeming to be having the most fun either. And Ghosts looking to defend the position which he got, and Evans has got a lot of ERS compared to his teammate, but he's just kind of playing that rear gunner role for the time being. As it stands, obviously Harris would be losing out to Mills, losing out 3 points. That gap would be closing to 6. You can see it there. There is the live championship standings. Constructors as well. Ferrari will not be the champions in this sprint race. And whoa, here we go, 3 wide. Down on the run down towards turn 4. Dropbox ahead of Dylan. Coyd wheel to wheel with Dylan, and Dylan is ahead, and now Kure slipping to the inside. And Kura getting the place. Can Coyd maybe make a lunge back? And there's contact between Coyd and Kura. So many people running into the back of the car ahead of them. Who is Guardia Bafuta 06? And why are they in this session? And this battle for 12th place is still completely ongoing. Danny maybe trying to close into Bryn Evans. Bryn Evans playing that defensive role again, and there's no real ERS for Danny to attack. But once again, down to the center S. Here we go. Any moves to the inside, not on this occasion, as that person has just decided to leave the session. But, well, this, I believe, this is also Ryan, but their name hasn't changed. Yellow flag. Yellow flag. Is it Fozzie again? I think it might be, you know. He's dropped back now. And, well, Bradley is right there. It's a bit confusing when there's no thing showing if people have changed position, but must be some quirk about this sprint or something. Fozzie has lost 3 seconds in the middle sector. It was Fozzie once again. The pole sitter having difficulties. Bradley going the other way in the other Red Bull. And once again down into first couple of corners. Harris is now caught up with those hard compound tyres. And this race is not over yet. Rio Harris looking to see if he can limit the damage in the championship or maybe even extend his championship lead side by side down towards center S. And it's side by side with the Alpine of Coyd and Kure slipping by, and Kure might even have a bit of a go here. Down the Retroposta into the Cida de Lago, and here we go. Around the outside, Dylan will try and get on the brakes. There is a yellow flag in the middle sector as Dylan gets the traction down. There's contact between the Williams and Mercedes, and that might even allow the Alpine of Coyd to have a look. Not quite. We'll quickly change back to the battle at the front, where Rio Harris is joining this battle for sprint victory. But there's only 2 laps to go now. Another yellow flag. It's the Williams, I believe, of, is it Tarantino, having a difficulty. Harris, though, following through. And now how do McLaren play this? They have a lot of ERS in their cars compared to the drivers behind. Look at that ERS percentage. We'll quickly compare that to the 2 Ferraris, who don't really have a lot. How will Ferrari play this? As there we go. Harris goes through on Danny Zwart. And here we go. Harris now in a position to attack the McLarens. And how will this go? You can see his championship rival just up the road. And we'll be wanting to make the distance between them smaller. And that first comes with getting past Bryn Evans, but we're heading towards the final lap of the race, on the penultimate lap at the moment in this sprint race in the penultimate round of RFC Season 6. And I don't think Harris has quite got the ERS. The challenge is going to be a middle sector job, probably, if he is to get a place on the McLaren. Of course, he doesn't want to risk getting any sort of penalty, but he has got a bit of a buffer to Bradley, which might extend to about 10 seconds by the end of this lap, considering how Bradley's tyres are going. He might be fortunate not to get a puncture on his car, looking at that tyre wear, and Ghosts might be having a little run here, potentially to the inside, not quite on this occasion. Harris still trying to chase, but Mills has controlled this race from, well, ever since the point he overtook Bryn Evans. And the sprint is coming to its conclusion, and Alex Mills still in the lead. There can be opportunities for drag races to the line at Interlagos, but it doesn't look like it's close enough for that on this occasion. And even if it was, Bryn Evans would not be overtaking Harris, trying to give everything to get past Bryn Evans. But McLaren have controlled this sprint. They have the ERS needed, and Bryn Evans is trying to defend from Rio Harris, as they are going to be close. But Alex Mills wins the Sao Paulo sprint from Bryn Evans. Rio Harris comes home to take third place and lose 2 points in the championship battle to Alex Mills. Danny Svart in fourth. Senor Ghosts in... Danny Svart in fourth. Bradley taking home fifth. Senor Ghosts in sixth. Fozzie and Ryan there in the Haas taking home the final points. But it is Alex Mills winning the sprint race. And is still close to the line. I think penalties as well swapping over. But we'll now get into the main event. And he has by nearly 0.2 of a second. Ghosts now to cross the line for Aston Martin up into 7th place. Can Fusion improve his time? He's off the track, but it's still counted. And Fusion's gone to original pole, even though he was all 4 wheels off the track. Dylan crosses the line in 5th. What about Fozzie in the Ferrari? Fozzie runs wide. What will the lap time have been? We'll see. Once again, as he's going to cross the line, Harris has gone into 6th. Fozzie just would have missed out regardless. Fusion, who was off the track, who's taken pole position. Oh, we will see Evans making a dive in turn 11. Oh, Harris and Evans lock on. They barge into each other, and they're still running wheel to wheel. Down in towards turn 12. Harris picking up the slipstream from Stevrex. Evans is going to try and keep this outside line and saw around the outside in turn number 12. And Evans gets pushed wide. And Evans will then try and dive up the inside of turn 13. Harris trying to go all the way around the outside and maintain the place. He has retired, and there's a safety car being brought out. There's a safety car that has been brought out because of Curry. Harris might have to keep an eye on his mirrors once more, but he's also going to be looking forward because Stevrex has not got DRS anymore on the race leader, and he is going to make the move and go into 2nd place on the road. What about Evans? Is he going to be fighting his way through? He's trying to set up a good exit, and he might make a lunge here. Deep on the brakes. He almost hits Rio Harris. He does hit Rio Harris into turn 15. And he is ahead of Stevrex, but they're ghosted inside of each other. And Stevrex on the penultimate lap has a big moment. And that is going to cost him place to Fozzie. Evans is closing in on Rio Harris. Dylan and Stevrex are battling, but this is between 2nd and 3rd. And Harris and Evans lock on into the S section. And Evans is now ahead of Rio Harris on the track, gaining in the slipstream. ERS active. Bryn Evans tries to defend. He can't. Will he make a surprise move? He can't. Can Evans make a last-minute lunge on Harris? He is going to make a last-minute lunge on Harris. And once again, the same thing happens, where he tags the back of the Ferrari going into turn 15. But meanwhile, out front, it is Alex Mills, who won in Singapore. And now he will round turn 20 and win the US Grand Prix and continues that championship charge. Welcome back. It's time for the Grand Prix qualifying, and the Grand Prix itself. Around Interlagos once again, obviously. Session has already started, so I'm not going to spend too long explaining anything, but same corners, same circuit, and I hope we'll get some good action once again. I mean, obviously there was quite a few instances. This was a bit wheel-to-wheel last season between Daniel Hoyland and there is Danny Zwart, and also Lowell getting involved. And then, yeah, going through in there, and tyres, well, unsurprisingly, they haven't changed. So, time to get into the session, and hopefully everything works this time, because I'm pretty confident that everything's fine, because the sprint actually worked fine in the end. So, just give me a second to swap things over. We will be there. Yeah, and that little gap then, I was just fixing the championship graphics so they match up with the new points after the sprint. So let's hope that everything works. I think that person's name is now fixed, and we have about 12 minutes to go in the session, but I mean, no one's really gone out for laps. So I was confident I could just kind of fix that in the process. Okay, ready to go. And just as I say that, I managed to minimize the things on one of the screen at the same time. There we are. We have a purple sector 2, or Coid, who is completing a lap of the Interlagos circuit. And now running it to the line. That Swifty guy, did he not give the right? Swifty literally just changed his name to work. Swifty Ryan. Swifty 301. Oh no, he gave it with a capital letter, but his actual name doesn't have a capital letter, and that screws it up. Because things. There we go. Ryan. It works now. It's fine. It's all okay. Oh, we should probably stop watching people going around the pits and actually go towards Rio Harris, who is actually invalidating his laps. We'll go to Fozzie, the sprint pole sitter. Just going now towards Junsao, last braking point on the lap. And looking to see what he can do. He's 4.5 tenths up on Danny Zwart. That looks pretty good. He's now going to run to the line. Shortest run. And goes quickest by just over 4 tenths. So not a bad first thing to have in the bank. Then maybe Harris will go for another lap now, considering he just had an invalid one. Here we go with Harris, down towards the Cida de Lago. Alex Mills is on a lap as well, and we're seeing purple sectors pop up. Steverex taking 2 purple sectors, seemingly once. Harris invalidating once more. But Alex Mills, meanwhile, down towards Juncel. And he is backed off, I think. So he will not be there. Evans as well. Not setting a competitive lap on his first one, but he has gone purple in the first sector on his second lap here. Yeah, I think everything works. Harris must outscore Mills by 19 points. Yeah, because if he's 7 points behind, 19 plus 7 is 26, and he needs to be 26 points ahead. So I think, pretty sure we have some working graphics. Evans on his way and goes quickest over Fozzie. No purple sectors, but he doesn't care about that because he has gone to the top of the times. Harris, is he going again on the same tyres? I think he might be, you know. Let's just check the constructors. McLaren must outscore Ferrari by 28 points today. So we got 58 and we got 13. There's 71. So then 71 take away 28. And yeah, and let's just see Mills run it to the line and go quickest, only just over Evans. Not, yeah, it is, because 28. Don't ask me to do maths right now, I guess. Harris crosses the line. He's there. And I don't know if anyone's actually on a push lap at the moment, so we'll get that back up again. While I just quickly get up the chat again. I seemingly lost it. There we are. Chat is back up. And, well, maybe I'll do that maths again. So we got 58, 13, 71. 71 take away 28 gives us 43. And then, yeah, so that's right. It'd be within, as if McLaren outscore Ferrari by 28, they'll be 43 points behind, and 43 is the maximum you can get in a race weekend. And obviously McLaren have a lot of wins this season, which are bumping up their kind of countback, if you would say it that way. I mean, there's not really how else could you say that. Amiri, I think, might be actually pushing on here. The only one currently on a push lap. We'll see him through Ferrari. Now on his way. And we'll see how his sector times compare. The Haas. And to get the best grid spot he can, but he's 1.3 seconds down currently. Bradley as well, not having the best first lap. I don't... Right, Bradley's name is working. Yeah, everything is all fine. Amiri across the line, 14th place. Is the Haas top 3 worst? Can't lie, not entirely sure. I think it's mainly track dependent. But I do know the Haas is not particularly the nicest handling car. Well, obviously Sauber is going to be the slowest because they've not updated performance, and then probably Alpine, and then maybe Haas kind of fall in there. Yeah, Edward saying 8th. I think it's... Yeah, the cars have different strengths, but obviously some cars are just quick at every track, and some obviously not. Well, Mills on an out lap already. Merck did not score any points in the sprint. So, if we pull this back up, yeah, Mercedes are now behind Red Bull by even more, I think, because Red Bull... no, wait, Mercedes just overtook them by 1 point last round, I think, and now Red Bull have overtaken them back. Your second driver's Donut, but I think he might have rage quit the league, I can't lie. Mills, I think he might just be going for a warm-up here. I think he is. Curry. Through Ferrari. On the brakes, wide of the apex. And out towards Bico de Pato. Tricky braking zone, there's no real points to go off. But I'm in people racing line anyway. And then down into Jinsao once more. 9.5 tenths down, slightly wide again. And we'll see what the run to the line is for the Williams. I think the few drivers at the bottom, I think Joseph and Donut are not in the session. Curry has crossed the line and he improved, I think, by a couple of tenths, but he's not actually gone anywhere. Yeah, I think Joseph and Donut are not actually in the session. Dropbox, I'm not entirely sure if he's not showing up as AI on my screen, so I think he might be in the session, but surely you'd be out on track. So, I'm not sure, but I mean, we'll see after this qualifying session. Here we go then, with Alex Mills, and he will actually start his lap now. That is obviously the previous lap was 9 seconds off. This is the important lap now. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. I mean, technically there is still time, but maybe not fuel for one more lap. Down. No. Towards the Cida de Largo. And he is up on his previous time. There's a 5-place grid penalty for, I think, Ryan there. Ryan R, the Sauber. And for a collision or something with Bradley there. Don't know, but don't know what happened there. But anyway, Mills through the middle part of the lap. That's the difficult bit done now. Well, you still got one more difficult part, the braking point for Jinsao. Might get a bit of a slipstream here from, I think, Amiri, who's just up the road, and Mills to improve his lead on pole position. And he has done that. And he's now 2 tenths ahead of Bryn Evans. Danny Zwart, he is improving. And he's looking to take the shortest run to the line. How close is it going to be? It's 7 tenths off the McLaren. What about Rio Harris in a round he really needs to be up there? And he is in 4th place. Doesn't improve his position, improves his time. This is going to be Ghosts. Ghosts goes into 5th ahead of Danny Zwart. And then we have Dylan going up into 5th. Evans crossing the line. Evans misses out on pole position. Miguez has crossed the line. Miguez in 9th. Bradley is in 12th. And then it's going to be Toon Tans running to the line. 2 personal bests. Where can this put the Kick Sauber? Into 13th. Where's the response from Fozzie now? Fozzie improves his time, but not his position. Steverex for Racing Bulls isn't on a quick lap. What about Ryan here? Invalid lap from Ryan. Crashes into the barrier. And we are there. Pole position for Alex Mills. In Sao Paulo. And well, there we go. It's another pole for Alex Mills. And that chase for the championship, it looks like it's going to be oh so close by the time we get to the end of this one. Yeah, Amiri's just stopped. I think we're just waiting for some people to get back to the pits or cross the line, and then we'll be there. And qualifying will be over. Amiri, no idea what he's up to. I think we're waiting for him though. And I think he is finally gonna go into the pits. McLaren lock out the front row, and they have this under control once again. And I think finally the session might end, which would be nice. So, confirmation of pole position for Alex Mills. Of course, we have the grid penalty in there as well, involving the, I think, Ryan. Yep, collision with Bradley. Obviously, there's no, yep, no matter whose fault it was, there's no removing that, because it would require a lobby restart. Time for the Grand Prix. Alex Mills looking for another victory and looking to set up the finale in Abu Dhabi, but still have a long race to get through before that. Yeah, this is third pole of the season after Monza and Singapore the time before last. He's chasing a fifth victory of the season. Here we are, formation lap underway. And, well, it seems like Fozzie has already sprinted away. Harris once again on the hard compound. So interesting to see there with Rio Harris. Hard tyres as well for Joe, but he's not actually in this. And also Donut, he's not actually in this either. So we're already a few cars down, but let's hope that we try to maintain as many drives as possible. It's going to be a 2-stop most likely. We saw the tyre wear yesterday, very high. And well, I don't think a 1-stop is possible, so no point even saying that as a question, I don't think. Well, Fozzie has dropped back. Bradley has been disqualified from the formation lap, as has 2 Tans. So they're already sitting there. They've been set back in their grid spot. Their tyre temperature is probably not going to be too good, just because they got set there. Pretty sure they just get cold tyres. Oh, Fozzie gets set back. The Sao Paulo Grand Prix is just moments away. Bryn Evans pointing towards Alex Mills, and we go to 5 red lights at Interlagos. It's lights out and away we go, and both McLarens seem to get a decent start. Alex Mills maintaining his lead. Fozzie might soar around the outside, he doesn't, going into the center S. Then comes Rio Harris, getting a bit out of shape there. Dylan and Senor go side by side, and Danny looking to get involved, looking to get up the inside of the pair of them, down the Retroposta, in towards the Cida del Lago. Danny Zwart on the inside, gets past Ghosts. Does he get past Dylan? Not quite, but then he does on the exit. And going wide, there's a huge accident involving Tans and Bradley, I think, in the background. No safety car deployed for the moment, but that is not ideal for them. And Bradley getting involved in another incident here. So Alex Mills maintaining his lead from pole position. Bryn Evans maintaining his position. Fozzie and Harris as well maintaining their places. Danny with a good start to get past those two already. And then, well, further back, Ryan seems to have had an excellent start as well in the Sauber. But once again, this trade is just going to be absolute chaos as we head towards the second lap. And Mills leading any close battles into the center S on this occasion. Don't think there is. Bradley has retired in the pits. That's not ideal for Red Bull and their quest in the championship, particularly after the sprint where they had decent points all over Mercedes. Down the inside there goes Coyd, and then Amiri fights back. And Amiri on the exit down towards Ferragura pulls back ahead. But let's just really quickly check as we're getting in another sector. I'm not entirely sure what that's popping at the bottom. Oh, Ryan? No, I have no idea. That was that crash in the background. And yeah, not ideal at all. So Mills seems to be just controlling this away, and Evans once again doing the job. Zwart and Harris then following through. Harris might be under pressure again at the start because of the difference in compound, and Ghost's a little bit too far back to try anything, but the Mercedes of Dylan goes in a bit deep, and could that open the door for Steverex to potentially get the run? He's trying it. ERS active, not quite the closing speed required to overtake. And Dylan now potentially getting around on Ghost, not quite. Zvart keeping up with the top 3. Harris will come back later on, as we saw before. And those 2 AI cars just running at the back, just confirmation that they are both AI. So we know for the results. And this train is going pretty crazy at the moment, from Harris in 5th all the way back to Coyd in 16th. We have that train. And I wonder if Fozzie is going to try and get involved this time compared to the sprint, where obviously he had a couple of mistakes, I think. I'm not entirely sure what went on, but it certainly meant he wasn't in the battle for the lead at all. Fozzie looking to see if he can push the McLarens into having to swap their positions to maintain the order. And down Retroposter once again into turn 4. No changing of positions. Further back though, we might see a lunge from someone. It's Amiri on Ryan, and Ryan goes wide. Amiri does as well. Can Dropux get the pair of them? He's going to try and find a gap which wasn't there. That's the lift off as Amiri and Ryan make contact into Ferragura. Ryan somehow keeps control, but there we go, wheel to wheel and contact there in the battle for 13th place. Perfect view on board there from the Alpine. And, well, Tans has made a stop onto the soft compound. It's interesting to see. And again, the position change happens. No position change indicators for some reason, even though they weren't in qualifying, so... Whoa! Dropux losing the car! Dropux losing the car as we're watching from Amiri there. Dropux getting all out of shape. And well, he certainly lost position there. And we're in the middle sector again, so I don't think... Someone might pull a lunge later on, but now is not the time for desperate lunges. And once again, we'll have a quick little watch back. Dropux just getting onto that curve, it seemed, maybe. Trying to get the power down, and just wasn't successful. And at the moment, Alex Mills would take the lead of the championship going in to the final round. Fozzy there. And Zwart closing up. And hang on, I'm just gonna refresh that. There. I think it's supposed to say as it stands, but I think we get the point. So Harris really needing to claw back a bit of ground, and I'm sure with the hard tyres they will come back to him again, but obviously he'll have to be on the mediums at some point. He can't just keep being on the hards, but obviously he'll be on the mediums when the car is a bit lighter, so it'll be a bit easier to manage, you would have thought. Let's just have a little look at the Constructors battle as well. There we go, as it stands, Ferrari will be the champions in this event, as now Fozzy potentially going around the outside of Evans. Evans defends that inside line as they go now through the Curve of the Sol. And Fozzy doesn't look quite close enough. Mills there. Slight wobble maybe, nothing too much though actually in the end. And now here is Dylan getting past Ghosts. And Ghosts dropping down a place. Harris starting to work those hard compound tyres. Starting to get away. And now we have a yellow. It is the Sauber of Tans at Junsao, and he might have had a difficulty there. He's wiggling. Is the Kick Sauber. Tyres do not look in good condition either, and still going for the time being. But the battle resumes down to the Senna S, where Fozzy is going to be pushing Bryn Evans into burning a little bit of ERS, and that might cause Evans to have to swap around with Mills. Not on this occasion though, but Evans is close to the back of his teammate through the Curve of the Sol, down towards turn number 4, and I don't think he's going for a move. And well, any move anyway would be kind of orchestrated. Here is Ghosts getting past Dylan into that turn 4. Murray and Coyd seem to be swapping over. Fozzie getting a bit of grass on his tyres there. Now into Bico de Pato. And then down towards Juncel. So Coyd running in 14th. Can we see the McLaren's tyre wear? Absolutely, we can have a little look at the tyre wear of Alex Mills. And Fozzie might be gaining. No, he's not going for it this occasion. He might just be cooling down his engine slightly. He's going to condense up the Evans with better tyres than Alex Mills. Tarantino has sped into the pits, which is not ideal at all. And well, how is Rio Harris's charge forward getting on? Last lap, still lost a few tenths. Tans with a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting, so creative interpretation of track limits. He's retired now, and is that on track, or is that just a retirement? I think that might just be a, click retire from the session, but it is on track. He's actually spun around there, he's reversing. Well, the AI anyway, so you might have just clicked retire, to be fair, and then that's just kind of how the AI is trying to deal with that situation. Because if he did smash into the wall, you would expect a safety car to be deployed. And well, that's now gone. And there's Amiri just getting past Donut, who obviously is that car controlled by the AI. And Ryan as well will be doing the same. As now, here we go. Fozzie into the pit lane, getting it slowed down, no penalties for him. And well, he's going for an undercut on the McLaren cars. And how will this get on? Because, well, the undercut will be pretty powerful because of the tyre wear. And it is certainly going to get close, and there we can see the effect of tyre wear for Bryn Evans. He's got the best tyres, really, of anyone, I think. I can see, so we'll see how he gets on, because surely Alex Mills will get the priority. He's ahead as well on track already, and well, how quickly will that gap close between Fozzie and Alex Mills? Because I think he is going to get the undercut here, Fozzie. He's going to hit a bit of traffic in drop hooks though, through the middle sector, and this might just cost him the time. He's gonna make a dive surely here into Bico de Pato, and there we go, move done. And now do McLaren respond? They do not respond, they stay out, but Danny Zwart is pitting, and is he going for an undercut as well? Are McLaren going for the strategy of having better tyre wear towards the latter stages of the race, or just better tyre wear throughout the next stint? Do they think they've got the pace to catch back up? And Evans and Mills very close on track. Evans has just been sitting behind for most of the race, but now he's got more ERS, he's got better tyres now, and he's maybe feeling a little bit more confident out there. Ghosts picking up 3 seconds for track limits. Yeah, I think you will become champions unless something goes mad. McLaren need to outscore by about, is it 28, I think. But there's still a long way to go in the race, so don't count your chickens before they've hatched. McLaren sticking it out there again. There's a safety car, and they have completely locked in. But Harris as well, obviously. Maybe they're trying to, well, they don't want Harris to, I don't know, pull the alternate strategy, because he is 2.6 seconds behind. He's gaining now, obviously, the hard tyres performing better on the last lap, with 9 tenths quicker than Bryn Evans. So really closing that gap up. Yeah, Eagle celebrating too early, I think. Harris is going to be right on the back of the McLarens, probably by the start of the next lap. If it keeps going like this, the amount of time they're going to lose. I mean, obviously DRS will gain that gap up a bit. And yeah, as it stands, Ferrari will be champions this race, I think, if all the maths is right. And obviously, stuff will still shake out as well, as Vart might gain a bit as well. Here we go. Here we go. Here's the swap. Bryn Evans overtaking Alex Mills into turn number 1. And Harris, just a few... he's just 1.4 seconds. We're going to say a few seconds. He's a corner behind now. So he is going to be on the back of the McLarens pretty soon. Well, McLaren really needing to score a 1-2 finish if they want to take the Constructors to the next race. But even if they do that, it's still unlikely they're going to gain the amount of points. Unless Ferrari have a disaster class from here. But let's just have a little check-in again with the gap between... Yeah, look, Fozzie, 12 seconds behind. He's comfortably got the undercut. Dylan's still sticking out there on all the tyres. And yeah, they're going to have to be boxing soon. I think this might be it for Mills on this lap. Indeed it is. 75% left rear, gets it slowed down nicely, doesn't exceed the speed limit. And Harris still going on those 13-lap-old hard tyres. Dylan speeding into the pits. So easily done at Brazil. Just need to pick your brake point and just practice it a couple times. It's not the easiest pit lane because you're just completely flat out going into it. Going at incredible speed, but obviously braking too late and getting yourself a penalty. And quite a long pit exit as well as you feed your way out. The extra turn 3. And Dylan here. How is it looking with Kure? Dylan is ahead of the Williams car. As down the inside there goes Ryan. On a nearly slight contact, I think, between the Kicksauber and Haas. And, well, what is going to happen now with Evans and Harris? Because obviously Evans is going to need to pit probably now if he doesn't want to get a puncture. So I would imagine that is what he is doing. Nope, he's staying out there on 76% tyres. So he's going to risk it. And he might slow up Rio Harris's progress as a result of that. That might be the McLaren tactic. Because Mills obviously lost quite a bit of ground to Fozzie after all that. Fozzie with about 20% more tyre wear is now about 10 seconds up the road. So it's interesting the strategic element playing into this race, I would say, where, yeah, it's interesting to see how it's going to shake out at the end of lap 36. Safety cars could still come into play. And Ghosts now having a go to see if he can get past Miguez. Steverex as well. It's quite close to Andre Tarantino. You can have a quick look at those other tyre ages. All these, everyone's boxed apart from Evans and Harris. And now, here we go. This has got to be the pit lap for Bryn Evans. He's on 81% right rear. And there we go. Bryn Evans into the box. Rio Harris takes the lead of the race. Evans a bit locking up there. Gets it slowed down. And Harris now in the lead of the race as he laps Joseph there, who's the AI car. And there might be battles back down towards Center S once more. Because here we go with Steverex. And Tarantino might have to react and try and get involved here. Steverex late on the brakes, taps the back of the Williams. And now sets up a run out of the Curve of the Sol down Retroposta. But then emerging from the pits there is Bryn Evans. And he's directly behind Ryan there in the Haas, but he does dive down the inside and take the place into the corner. So Ryan gets overtaken there. A bit closer than Bryn Evans would have wanted. Yellow flag. Potentially an Aston Martin. Wonder if that is Ghosts. Dropping back a few seconds, but here we go, wheel to wheel. With Steverex, contact with Tarantino. And then Miguez as well, trying to fight his way by. And yeah, the battles still go on, just like the sprint. Evans could one stop if he managed at the start of his sprint, of his stint. That is a potential because, well, but to be fair, if you can get the mediums to go however many laps, 16 or 15 laps actually, I think. 15 laps on the mediums, then you could quite possibly make the end. That is true, but how is the race time going to work out? Steverex running a bit wide in the Racing Bulls. And this train continuing to fight for the lower points, and this is great to see. Some of the maybe lower down ranked teams in performance really giving it a good go to get in the points. Obviously Bradley's already out of the race. One Mercedes and one Aston are basically out. They're controlled by AI, and then we just got Dylan here in the sole Mercedes. And well, Harris still going out there in the lead, and well, I think Harris is going to make a one-stop work. Looking at his tyre wear, I think he can just about make a one-stop work. He goes a few more laps on the hard compound. And well, Fozzie is the first two-stopper, and he's 4.1 seconds behind. So can Fozzie overtake Harris before Harris stops? Because then we're coming into like who's in the net race lead, and who, if everyone needs to stop one more time, then obviously, yeah, it shakes it out. And yeah, because if people are trying to do a one-stop and then they actually find out they can't do it, then they're just going to waste time by staying out. Like, they're going to extend their stints when they didn't need to. But if the one-stop does work, then they could reap the rewards. We haven't necessarily had overtaking left, right and centre at the front of the field like we might have had in previous races, but we have the strategic element. And Harris once again continuing, and there we can see 69 on the right rear. But now we'll quickly switch back to this battle down towards Senna S's. Steverex looking to catch Ryan, but actually Steverex under pressure from Andre Tarantino, who's diving to the inside, and Steverex will try and hold this, and Steverex ahead of Tarantino still. There's a yellow for Amiri, I think, but now back comes the Williams towards turn 4. Not quite close enough. And the gap between Harris and Fozzie is closing down. Fozzie obviously looking to get ahead so he can kind of consolidate a position if they both have to stop one more time, which is what Rio Harris is looking to do. Fozzie obviously stopping a lot earlier. And well, that is the constructors. As at the moment, Ferrari don't need to do anything. It's McLaren that need to outscore them by 28 points. So Ferrari are in a good position. But obviously they still need to score points. Oh, getting a bit out of shape. Ryan there in Junsao, and we might see it go down towards turn 1 again. And Fozzie is now caught up to Rio Harris, but we'll quickly see this wheel-to-wheel action down the main straight, and Kure gets ahead as Amiri there once again slowing down, similar to what he did in qualifying, really. No idea what's going on there. He hasn't got Miguel to kind of have a battle with this time, and Amiri looks to be out of contention unless there's a safety car. And look how close Fozzie is now down towards Vinsal. Severett's picking up 3 seconds. Here we go. Change for the lead incoming, I think. With the Red Bull of Fozzy on Rio Harris. And it's not even really a contest with the tyres. And with the DRS, Fozzy takes the lead as we have the Racing Bulls off there. And that is Steverex, I think. And also the Haas slowing down at the same time. It wouldn't actually let me swap to Steverex because he was dropping down so quickly. I couldn't select his exact position. But he's lost a bit of his front wing. And potentially went into the barrier there. Or potentially had contact with another driver. And another yellow. Probably for Amiri again. And here we go. Tarantino under pressure from Ryan. But there's not quite a straight line speed there. Steverex has retired in the pits. Diving to the inside is the Aston Martin of Senor Ghost. Getting past Roberto Miguez. And Ghost up into 9th place. It's been up and down, up and down. Most drives been up and down. Ghost's a bit out of shape. It's difficult to even keep track of where everyone's been. Look at those position swaps. It's all over the place. Well, out front, still trying to see what's going on. Because Harris is going for 1 extra lap. And this is a crucial one. He's on 80% right rear. And he needs to manage this until he presumably pits at the end of this lap. Just needs to manage the loads because if he gets a puncture, that could be critical for the championship. And Tarantino's pitting there for the 2nd time. Miguez as well doing the same thing. And Harris, 81. And he's got the middle sector to complete. He's got around Ferragura with his tyres still intact. And there is Amiri just stopped there on the racetrack, letting by the Ferrari cars. Pit stops going on further back in the field. And I don't quite know what Amiri's really up to, but Harris is rounding the last couple of corners and he is presumably going to pit. And he does pit. And then Zvart stays out. And Harris plays it extremely safe on the pit entry. Doesn't want to get himself a puncture. And well then, if the McLarens can't go to the end, Rio Harris is in a great position. And Fozzy as well. If the McLarens can make it to the end, then it gets interesting. Ryan gets a penalty. That's the tyre wear of Alex Mills. Bryn Evans better on the tyres, obviously pitted a little bit later as well. Tyre age, 2 laps older Mills compared to Evans. And Amiri retiring in the pit road as well. And all those 2 AI cars, yeah, they're just completely nowhere. Their gaps aren't even loading in now. They must be, if they're, I don't know, they're just, no data's coming up for them. Must be if they get lapped. They've been lapped by the car ahead of them. Because that might throw up a bit of a funny... Not sure. They're definitely a lap down to the leaders. And here we go with Fozzy. Fozzy making the stop. Zvart stays out and now takes the lead of the race. And, well, on the way, Ferrari surely to taking the Constructors' title. Here in RFC Season 6, unless something strange happens. And, well, how's Fozzy going to get on now? He's made his 2nd stop. Obviously, he went quite early with the 1st stop. That seems to be working quite well. Harris, ahead of Ghosts. And yeah, there's Joe being lapped. He's only a lap down. So They're just lapping him for the first time, I guess, or lapping the AI, really. And Fozzie here needs to get past Dylan. How is the McLaren strategy going to play out? Fozzie easily gets past Dylan. Dylan kind of lets him by, maybe trying to sneak a bit of DRS on the next straight as a strategy. But at the moment, it seems like McLaren's strategy isn't working out. But if they can make it to the end, obviously it is working out. So it's going to be close. Let's just have a quick little look at the Drivers' Championship, where Alex Mills is going to take the lead at the moment. But obviously, how is it going to shake out come the end? The two McLarens have been inseparable for the majority of this race. Ryan ahead of Miguez into turn 1. McLaren pace last lap 112.2, Harris 110.2. So Harris gaining 2 seconds per lap. Fozzie, his pace we'll see at the end of this lap, because the only lap he did was, his lap was, it was when he pitted, his last lap time. 17.8, 35. I mean, they're gaining a second half in the middle sector, so McLaren must be doing a tyre management job to try and get this to the end. Bryn and Alex trying to do the Hungary strategy. Yeah, as Gianpiero Lambiasi said to Max Verstappen in Spain 2021, this could be Hungary all over again here. And well, I think this might be Hungary all over again here for the McLarens. They're trying to manage this to the end, because you wouldn't be dropping that amount of time if you weren't managing it, I don't think. I mean, I think Evans is doing a pretty good job. You know, he extended the first stint a little bit, and now he's got better tyres. He's got the offset to his teammate. And there is Danny. Danny cannot make the end of the race, so he's just going to have an optimum time to get the 2-stop. But he's carrying on for the time being. Maybe, I mean, yeah, that tyre wear is not going to make the end, but maybe if there's a safety car, he would profit. And now it's Harris's turn to go by on Dylan. And up into 5th place he goes. So, how is Zvart's pace holding up? 12.2 on the last lap. Mills gaining 4/10. I mean, if his tyres weren't so worn, the pace is still kind of there compared to the McLaren, but obviously McLaren doing a big management job now compared to Fozzie. Fozzie with just really nice tyres, played the early stop, the first round of stops, and then obviously has come in now, just a few laps ago. Fozzie in the best possible position, because obviously he's on the hard tyre, Rio Harris making the hard to medium strategy work. And well, what is going on with Ryan? Something there. Ron Ferragura, and then to the next couple of corners, losing time. And Evans now ahead of Mills. So Evans looking to see if he can pull along this little train. And they're looking to reel in Danny Zvart. But this is going to get very close towards the end of the race. Fozzie just a few seconds away from breaking into the McLaren's DRS. And it's going down all the time. Let's watch the gap in the middle sector. 2.6 gone up to 2.7. 2.4. 2.1. You can see the amount of time he's gaining. And, well, it's going to be on the next lap he gets DRS at this rate. And it's not going to be down towards turn 1 or turn 4, you don't think, but it'll be, well, the end of the next lap, really, that he will be right there in the middle sector maybe. And Zwart maybe playing a bit of a game here, staying out, trying to risk it. But his tyres are not going to last, but he's kind of there, and the McLarens don't want him there. So this could make it interesting. And, well, Evans, with better tyre wear than his teammate, and Alex Mills could be a bit vulnerable here. 48%, I think he can make it, just about, to the end of the race. I mean, if you look at that tyre wear, they are managing it. It's not ideal, but it's manageable to the end. So Fozzie on the back of the McLarens now. As Zwart is just up the road, but look at Fozzie here, breezing past Alex Mills, and Fozzie on his way towards the other McLaren. That was a simple move, and one McLaren to go, and then the Ferrari of Danny Zwart. And if he can clear Bryn Evans on this next straight, that will do him just fine, because Bryn Evans has not got DRS yet on the car ahead. And there we go. Fozzie clearing both McLarens within a few corners. And now onto the back of Danny Zwart. And now how will the tyres hold up for the McLarens towards the end of the race? Rio Harris is gaining, but how much is he gaining by? 9/10 on the last lap. And Danny there, getting overtaken by Fozzie. That looked quite easy there, and now up the inside goes Evans, and Evans takes the place, and then Alex Mills now going wheel to wheel with Danny Zwart into Junsal. Danny Zwart on the inside, Alex Mills. There's contact between the McLaren and Ferrari, and Alex Mills is ahead. Will Danny Zwart fight back? Danny Zwart with the ERS burning. Alex Mills with not a lot of ERS. He doesn't have DRS either. And Danny Zwart re-overtaking Alex Mills into turn one. Oh, there's contact again, I think, between Danny Zwart and Alex Mills. And then Alex Mills letting back past Danny Zwart round the curve of the Sol. And this is costing so much time for Alex Mills. And if the race ended like this, Ferrari would be the Constructors Champions, because, well, McLaren are not scoring the big points that they need. They're only just scoring. There's contact again with Danny Zwart as Alex Mills goes to the inside. Danny tries to hold it, but I think Alex Mills has finally got that place. And he is ahead of Danny Zwart. But now McLaren with 18, with 15 points, that's 33, and well, Ferrari are not being outscored by 28. So there we go. That's the live constructors. For the drivers, this could get interesting pretty soon, because Harris is right, gaining. And there we go, Danny Zwart peeling into the pits as the two McLarens go on. And how are their tyres getting on? Because Alex Mills, 58% wear. Harris is behind. He's on about 40%, 42. So he's going to be right there. And there could still be more drama come the end of the race. Let's just have another little look back. This was the turn one moment when Mills then did let him back past. And well, that was after some more drama on the previous lap. And well, chase is on for Rio Harris. Mills currently in second in the race, obviously, so he would still be right there in the championship, but will it finish that way? As it stands, they would be separated by 1 point. And Harris would be ahead by 1 point. But Ferrari looks set for the constructors. And Bryn Evans maybe looking to swap by with Alex Mills again. Harris not quite able to gain, I don't think, at the moment. And yeah, Miguez here and Ghost side by side through the center S, and now down the curve of the Sol, down to Retroposta, who has DRS here. I don't think either of them have DRS. But Harris's charge is not really happening. And as long as the tyres last for the McLarens, it's okay. But Mills is still teetering on the edge of a puncture, as is Dylan, who we've not really spoken much about because he's kind of just been on a world of its own here. But anyway, Danny will overtake him pretty soon, I think. He's really got to manage that now. Well, Mills should make it to the end now, as Evans there just dives to the inside. Don't quite know what's going on there, but it's all okay. The two McLarens, who definitely don't want to be taking each other out, and Harris picking up a 3-second time penalty, so any chance of closing that gap down to the McLarens is well and truly over. Not really got any ERS either, I don't think. Yep, Harris seems to have run out of resources, and his tyres now, I think, starting to overtake what Bryn Evans' tyres are. Obviously Alex Mills' tyres are a little bit higher in tyre wear, but Fozzie out front has got this strategy spot on. Fozzie has pitted the latest, and he has... Yeah, Fozzie has pitted the latest, and he's got the lead because of that first early stop. Championship, Ferrari are currently winning that, you'd hope. And Fozzie just having a bit of a weave across the straight. And Danny here. Let's see if the graphic updates live when he overtakes. Here we go. Danny's right. Pushing Dylan around. DRS soon to be active. He's overtaken him before the DRS, really. There's the DRS. And he is now ahead. And at first I wasn't even looking then to see what the points was, but yeah, they have. Ferrari will be the champions because McLaren are not scoring enough. Yeah, because it's 22 to like 33, so it's only 11 points. And to McLaren's close again. We're heading towards lap 36 of 36. Still battles going on. Just quickly put up the track limit warnings. Not as many as other races. I mean, there are some wider track limits at Interlagos. And here go the McLarens down the main straight, and Evans is... I don't entirely know what he's doing. Shaping for a move, they're almost going off track, and they're not going for a move. But anyway, let's see the race leader, Fozzie, because not really spoken too much about him, apart from his great strategy, which has enabled him to... He's only done 12 laps on his tyres. I mean, those McLarens have done 22 and 20 respectively, so they did not get the strategy right. Fozzie, who didn't get the sprint right, looks to have got the Grand Prix spot on here at Interlagos. And Red Bull looking to get back to the top step of the podium. And that looks like that is going to happen. And Fozzie, who stepped in for his debut last time in Ferrari, now driving for Red Bull as a reserve, is rounding the last few corners flat out to the line to win the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. The two McLarens are close behind. I'm not quite sure what they're playing at. They're just swapping over all over the road. And they're going to be close to the line. And there we go, Mills is 400ths of a second ahead of Bryn Evans. They're side by side in formation. Ferrari across the line in fourth, across the line in fifth. Ferrari, RFC Season 6 Constructors Champions. And they've done it here at Interlagos with a race to spare. McLaren didn't score enough. And Ferrari have hit the jackpot. For the Drivers' Championship, though, that is going to be oh so close going into the finale. And it's not... yeah, it's not going to be decided until the last few laps of Abu Dhabi, most likely. It's probably going to go to the steward's office, I can't lie. There we go. That is your race order. No, we don't seem to get a cleanest driver on there, but no, that's the weekend's points. That is the race result. Race director, the FIA, to see that was the sprint result. Ferrari with a good finish there, not being outscored by a lot, but obviously for the Drivers' Championship, that gap that was 9 points has been reduced. So obviously they are, yeah, because it was 9, then after the sprint, it became 7, then after the race, it became 1. Rio Harris leads by 1 point.